So it's hard to believe that this is already episode 8. We've done this 7 times. I think by now we'd be good at it, but we're probably not real good at it.
Yeah.
We're still winging it and feeling our way through.
Still shifting things around.
Yeah, well, you put it on YouTube this week, which is the first time you've done it. I think you should tell people about that.
We need to talk about that.
Okay.
Because the first time we put it on YouTube, it did really well. And then maybe because of the Instagram algorithm or something, the second time did not do nearly as well. You know, it climbed up there. It's at 60 views or whatever. So we're trying to decide: do we stick with Instagram, or do we?
We do both,
or do we spread the net and try to get? You know, that's the ideal, to not put all your eggs in one basket.
What do people who watch this think? What do you folks who watch this think? Do you think we should do it on both, just on YouTube, trailers on Instagram? Some people don't get on Instagram, and some people don't get on YouTube.
Well, I think everyone gets on YouTube. Maybe not everyone has an account, but everyone's watched a YouTube video.
Well, everybody watches Instagram too. I mean, a lot of people watch Instagram. So
I think one thing is it's probably easier to watch on YouTube.
But how do you find it on YouTube? It's a lot harder to find on YouTube.
But unless you go to our website and then click the thing, or click one of the links I post, you have to search it.
I'm not smart enough to do that either, so if I can't figure it out, then a lot of people probably can't figure it out who are like me.
First off, my favorite question we've ever been asked. Who's the next guest?
Oh.
I guess they're sick of you.
Well, this is interesting because Garrett and Bobby just said, hey, when are you going to invite us on? We're part of the place. And I said, that's a good idea.
As soon as they buy me a third camera.
Okay.
They can...
Okay, so...
Or we could have you...
So we can say anybody who wants to buy Mikey a third camera can then be on the show.
Oh, 100%.
There you go.
And if you
have one laying around and you're close, come on down.
If you buy me a full frame camera...
You can be on twice.
You
can be the director.
We'll just sit here and tell you good things about yourself. We'll be like, your beard looks great, you know.
Okay, so what's the next leftover question?
The next leftover question. Where are you from? My dad asked that question.
Where am I from?
Yeah.
I was born in New York City and whisked off to northern New Jersey, Teaneck, New Jersey, 5 miles from the George Washington Bridge off of Route 4, where I grew up. So I'm from North Jersey. Then from there I went to school in South Jersey, and from South Jersey I transferred to Athens, Ohio University. And then from there
where he got a degree in photography.
That's right, with a minor in art history. So ask me anything about the history of art, I know nothing.
He majored in film photography.
I do this.
You get your thumb in the lens.
Yeah. Yeah, and I traveled around for about 10 years on my motorcycle. Somewhere in between there, I worked in the oil field in Louisiana and traveled around the world with them. Then went back to Vermont, a little bit of time back in New England. Worked at a BMW shop in Beverly, Mass, Freeman Cycle Sales, and then decided I needed to be someplace where I could ride year-round. Came down here, spent a couple years here.
I wish I could have worked in the oil field.
You still can. A lot of the oil field now is on land. It's in South Dakota.
It's really. Do you remember when there were jobs in South Dakota? Do you remember how crazy that got? Well, it was also like there were no good-paying jobs at that time, but
well, I guess
the Walmart parking lots were just filled with people sleeping in their trucks, and
I still think they're doing it in South Dakota.
Yeah,
got a lot of stuff going on there, and I would imagine maybe the oil field have picked up again. I mean, the oil field is if you want to go meet crazy people, that's the place to do it because most of them are on the run.
Yeah,
and
well, it's a little.
I had a great time.
Now it's like run by Halliburton, and they do.
Well, we did a lot of work for Halliburton. I worked for Tidewater Marine Service, which at the time, and maybe still is the largest marine service in the world. And they sent us all over the place, and we had a great time. So, I still think you can probably do that. I mean, we just rode down there on a motorcycle. Somebody said, hey, there's work down here. We left New England, and we got to Morgan City on Thanksgiving Day in like '73 or something like that. we came in through the southern way. We were in Atlanta for a little while, and then we left. And we came in. We were driving through some bayous, and we came up over a hill, and we saw this a pig with a hat on and a bow tie. First Piggly Wiggly we'd ever seen. We had no idea what a Piggly Wiggly was. So.
Do you know the history of Piggly Wiggly?
I do not.
Oh, it's amazing. It's actually very sad.
You mean they slaughtered him and ate him?
No, they were incredibly innovative. The guy who started Piggly Wiggly and Piggly Wiggly was the first store, the first modern store where you go
Grocery store, you mean?
Yeah, or just really any store, because they were the first, where you get a cart, you go in, you pick your own products, but there was nothing patentable, and so like 2 years everybody else was doing it. So he like invented the whole grocery store concept and never really made any money from it. I thought that was, because everybody, you think about Piggly Wiggly and you imagine kind of a rundown grocery store. You don't think about them being like on the forefront of American consumerism.
Right. Well.
And if you grocery store podcast coming up next,
right, direct from the basket.
We'll talk about Publix next week.
Right. Publix, as we like to call it.
Yeah. Which Nathan is a celebrity in the local Publix. He's been going there for years.
I wear my shirt.
Yeah.
No, not this one. Mikey comes in with a shirt, and people go, "Hey, there was just somebody in here with your shirt on." Oh, I come in with no shirt on, and I say, "Oh, well, he took it from me."
Yeah. Have I told this story on the podcast of I saw you in the grocery store one time and you were real focused on like cottage cheese or whatever, and you like turned to the side looking at this, and I was able to sneak up and sneak a pack of donuts into your cart without you noticing.
That was a couple months ago, yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
I didn't need them though. It wasn't my brand.
Probably one of the best pranks I've ever pulled. I can't believe you didn't see me.
I was about to make some eggplant parmesan. I needed some ricotta cheese for my eggplant, and so it's a very serious matter. So
yeah.
I was concentrating on that.
No, I was gonna say, hearing your story about we heard there was some work down there and we just went. It made me jealous for a second, but then I remember that's how I got this job. Like Chris was just like, I got a place you can stay, and you got a laptop, right? And I'm like, yeah, I got a laptop. And he's like, oh, I got a job for you.
Well,
it happened.
However it works. I mean, how all this works, and then we went from Chris to you, from you to Garrett. Garrett was connected to Chris, and then now Bobby's here, and Bobby's connected to Garrett, and the leg bone's connected to the thigh bone, thigh bone's connected to the hip bone. So it's worked out well, because everybody who's gone on to do other things here already was here. Everybody already knew him. They already knew what was going on, and they wanted to continue just in a different capacity. So
yeah,
that part's worked pretty well.
So I did ask questions on Goldstroke, and I didn't get any good ones.
I guess you weren't interested enough.
Yeah, I guess. But we did have one more leftover question from last week. What makes BMW the best?
I don't know if they're the best. I mean, it all depends on what you're going to do with a motorcycle. If you want to go as fast as you can, that's not it. If you want a bike that handles the best, that's not it. But if you want a bike that's dependable, classic looking, an appreciating purchase, and one that's relatively easy to work on, all the parts are available, it works great.
I'd say, at least with Airheads. I think.
Right. Well, we're talking about Airheads.
Yeah, and with other BMWs, although they're so hard to put the parts on, they don't attract me.
We don't have enough experience really with the oil heads and the K-bikes and that stuff to really make my best judgment on it.
The fact that you can still get a gasket for
a 51 motorcycle, which is a copy of a 37 civilian bike.
It's
so
insane.
Yeah, in a short period of time too.
And even the like a single cylinder, which they weren't all single cylinder.
They quit making those in '67.
You can still get parts and.
Well, that's part of the attraction to them, is the fact that they've always been dependable, and they're repairable, infinitely repairable, and the parts are not hard to find.
Yeah.
So you add all that stuff together, and as they evolved, they went from the R80 GS to the R100 to the R11 and 1150 and 12, so on and so forth. So because they've continued to make the GS, it continues to stir up the pot. So people who buy new ones, and they buy one that's got they buy an R9T that's got the decals on it from an R80 GS, and then they start looking and they say, oh, this is a copy of an R80 GS. That's kind of nice. I think I'd like to have one of those now that I got one of these. So, that happens all the time. If a company has something and then either discontinues it or it continues to evolve, each time somebody new gets involved in it and they start to look at the history of it, they follow it back, they realize that, hey, these have been going on for 50 years and I'd like to have one. I've got the first kind of one, I got the middle kind of one, and I got the newest kind of one. So, it all goes together. When they make something and then it disappears and they never make it again, the parts aren't available. People aren't, unless they're, classic bike collectors, they don't know about a Vincent Repeat, or they don't know about certain kinds of bikes that aren't around anymore. These bikes are around and the new ones are around and they sort of look the same, so they're constantly reminding you of their history.
There's a lot of great motorcycles out there that you just can't find parts for. They were great back in the day, but if you want to get it running again, it's,
Well, in terms of what you call great, that's why these things are great, because they are available parts-wise. And then we've taken the 55 to 69 chassis, we put the 70 to 95 motors in them. They look stock, they're electric start and 12 volts. Parts are available. You can get 70 horsepower, you can change rear drives, you can put disc brakes on them, so you're improving them. So you're taking something that was a great bike, but it's 6 volts and it's kickstart only and it doesn't brake real well and it's slow, and you take the basic bike, still looks the same, and you build something that is more modern, has decent brakes and can drive highway speeds and can get heated gear and put good lighting on it and so on and so forth. So, you've improved, you made an improvement on it, you made the bike better. And you made something that was before a collectible bike, now a more practical bike. So,
So we're about to put the plunger frame on
Bring a Trailer. We submitted it today.
And I took
our 67.
Excellent photos, if I do.
Excellent photos.
Yeah.
If Mikey does say so himself. Mikey's good at photos.
All right. We've been recording for 30 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we got some.
I thought that was my stomach making those noises.
We got some pretty good. I'm about to go see Chris at the garage. Go eat at his food truck.
Garage. Which garage is the garage?
The Oglethorpe garage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They're doing the swap meet next Saturday, the 12th.
Right. Tell Chris to email me or call me one of these days.
Can I tell that story of the last? So my good friend who got me the job here, Nathan and him started a donut business.
Cafe Racer.
Yeah, Cafe Racer.
Drive up
which now does burgers, which I'm going to go eat tonight. And
the donuts are made from potato.
So they have been extremely successful, and Nathan got bought out. And one day Nathan came to me and it seemed so sad, and he's like, Chris never replies to my text or emails anymore. He just never wants to talk to me. And then I saw the message you sent, and it was one line. It said, "Where's my money?"
That was way back when he owed me rent.
He was like, "Oh, he never talks to me
Well, it
anymore."
just gets to that point where you know that he knows.
Yeah.
And so there's no reason to beat around the bush. Hey, how's your day? Hey, blah, blah, blah. I say, hey, where's my money? And it wasn't there that much longer after that he came and paid me 6 or 8 months worth of rent.
Yeah, he's good for it.
I didn't hassle him about it. I just was a friendly reminder of something he already knew.
Yeah.
So.
Well, when he takes over the world, you're going to be a very wealthy man.
Well, when he takes over the world, I can say I knew him when.